Okay, let's try to create a pig UDF. So what you do is in Eclipse, you want to create a new Java project. And we're going to use the default location for that, and it's our first UDF, so we will call it first trotter because it's a thing. We want to make sure that we choose the 1.6 Java runtime, just because that seems to be what Hadoop uses. Hit next if you want to, it'll give you other options, but I just hit finish. Hopefully within there you should have an empty source and you should have the Java system library. You then want to add an external, so you right click on first trotter and you do build path, add external archives, and then what you need to do is you need to browse to Hadoop pig or wherever your pig is and actually find the pig snapshot, and you add that as an external jar, and that just is like adding a reference in Visual Studio. Then you want to actually start your library. So what I did first is I go to that source folder and I add the package. Yeah, I actually think I added it as a folder last time, but let's start with a package. So let's call it a name. So this will be com.newgrove. Hadoop.pig.slaughter, for example, or .first trotter. And then you hit finish, and that just shows up like that. That is just like a namespace, it's nothing more special than that. So within that you then want to create your class. So you create a class, and this class is going to be called upper, because it's going to implement the upper, and we just inherit, well, we can inherit from something else if you want to. So if you browse, then you can probably, let's not do it. You can inherit there from the right thing, but let's just create it as a blank class to start with. So we do finish and it creates it like that. This is when we copy and paste across from the samples. So the samples contain a upper function, which looks a bit like this guy. And you'll see, you get yellow warnings here, which is basically saying you imported these things, but you're not using them. And then we actually also want to replace our class. So again, just taking it straight from that sample page, and we paste it in. And again, you'll get a warning here about this being an out-of-date way of doing things. That's just the way the sample page has done it. Obviously, you can do something else. At this stage, you just save this, and it will actually have built in the background. Where it builds to, it kind of builds to the class libraries on the thing, and it's a bit fiddly. What you want to now do is export it. So you take first trotter, and you do export. Here you will find, well, okay, it's already selected here, but you'll find this folder by default. Within Java, you'll find jar. Choose next. Right, here it's important that you've got your actual code selected for your package. I don't know about these two things, you probably don't need to include them, but for now I'll just leave them. Our output here is going to be the name the package is going to be, so it'll probably be first trotter.jar. Compress, definitely, don't worry about any of the other settings so far. Choose next. It's important here that you've got export class files with compile warnings checked, because obviously we have compile warnings, so if you don't have that checked, the class files won't be in the output. Then the next thing that's quite convenient is to actually put the description somewhere. So in this case I'm going to put it into first trotter, into the project we're in, and I will call it first trotter.jar. First trotter.description. Yeah, this is just so you can run the wizard a lot quicker again next time. So if we do .jar description, hit OK, and then hit next. Again, I just have default packages there, default options there. It then tells you there are warnings. The warnings is basically that there are compile warnings. So you hit OK. At this stage, you'll see back in this guy we've got a jar description, which means at any point we can just right click on it, and hopefully here there is a create jar now, so you can just do create jar. It asks you about overwriting it. Yeah, so if I change some code here, I wanted this to be a 1 or whatever, I can just recompile it and create the jar. Now hopefully we should be able to go to I think I output it to here, so first trotter is, yeah, so there is the jar that's been created. If you rename the jar into a zip, .zip, yes, okay, then inside there you'll see, you know, there are the files we talked about, there's some metadata. Inside here you'll find com, new grove, Hadoop, pig, first trotter, and there's your actual class. And that's all there is to it. So if you need to create multiple UDFs, you just do it within here. If you want to create, you know, subfolders, just do it. That is it. And I bet that didn't record because that went far too smoothly.